What's up everybody, and welcome to another episode of Something Amazing. Just last week, CES 2020 went down, which was the first big tech expo for the year. And in this week's episode of Something Amazing, we're going to be taking a look at some of the product launches and some of the highlights that went down that really caught our attention. Let's get into it. So CES is one of the big tech expos and usually happens at the beginning of the year and usually sets a precedent or gives us an idea of what to expect during the year. CES obviously is a very big expo and covers tech in all spheres of industry, from tech in cars, mobile phones. So there was a launch of the Samsung S10 and Note 10 Lite, which actually didn't make a lot of sense because the new Galaxy is around the corner, and rumors that are out going on the web saying that there's going to be a S20. So they're ditching the numeric order and they're going towards the S20, which kind of makes sense. 2020, S20, yeah.
Duh.
Anyway, that's exciting to look forward to. Usually they have their product launch around February, March. And those phones should reach here by March, and we're hoping to get one as well. The next thing, obviously, you had your big companies like Razer introduced a new small form factor PC. You had Alienware, which came out with a new mobile device, which actually resembles a Nintendo a lot. Don't know what they were thinking there, but anyway, we thought we'd get into some of the product launches that obviously caught our attention and obviously that we were really excited about. So without any ado, firstly, let me apologize actually. We've been struggling with our internet. It's been down on and off a lot recently. There is an issue with the wax line that connects Africa with Europe. So if this episode doesn't air in time or upload in time, but please forgive us, but we're gonna upload it nonetheless. So getting straight into it, the first big product launch on the first day was from ASUS. They introduced a new ROG Swift monitor, which came in with a whopping 360 Hz refresh rate. Now, it is, however, a 1080p display. It's really something marvelous that ASUS has done. They obviously broken the norm or this of what is capable with the monitor, and they obviously developed that monitor in conjunction with NVIDIA. The thing about it is it for everybody? It's really astounding the tech that's gone into that to get that high refresh rate. But you know, you have to think about it reasonably. Anything above 144 Hz, like for example, if you jump from 144 Hz to 240 Hz, very few people will actually notice the difference, especially when you start getting to my age. I won't say what it is, but you're not going to see that difference. Obviously, the 360 Hz refresh rate, I assume ASUS is targeting obviously esports and professional esports players. They're going to really benefit from it. And NVIDIA did launch on their press release. They did say that with their testing, they found a 4% improvement when testing, obviously with pro esports players using a much higher, they're higher now, 360 Hz refresh rate. The second thing is it's a 1080p display. I mean, in 2020, the norm now is 2K, and everyone is actually going towards 4K. So why would you want a high refresh rate 1080p display? So that's something to consider. So obviously this is not for everybody. Obviously another big factor would be what the price point of this is going to be when it does get launched here in South Africa. And you're going to need quite a powerful system to get constant 360 frames per second in any title, or especially AAA titles. You need a powerful system.
Yeah, I guess so, yeah.
So there's a lot of factors to take into consideration. So around CES, there was a lot of talk, obviously, about there was a lot of launches in terms of monitors and TVs, especially 8K TVs. There were a lot of launches of 4K, 140 Hz, 44 Hz displays from Acer Predator. LG launched ultra wide monitor, which is 4K by 2K, which is any production suite's dream. But also high refresh rates at 4K. Yes, we're getting there, but we're not there yet. The hardware needs to match to get that constant above 140 frames at 4K, which would look amazing, but we're not quite there yet. Obviously, a lot of the panels that were launched this year feature the new micro LED technology. Micro LED is obviously offering much higher contrast ratios and much quicker response time. So traditionally there were 3 types of panels, and we covered this when we did our Dell review, our Dell gaming monitor review. You get VA, TN and IPS. So if you wanted the brightest display, the one that's most accurate towards the color gamut for RGB, you would go with the IPS display. If you want the quickest response time, you would generally went for something with a TN display. And for your VA panels, you wanted the best contrast ratio with high response times. But like we discussed when we did the Dell video, the technologies as they are developing, the gap between these 3 panel types is actually narrowing, where you're seeing almost the same performance gains across all of them. And the hope or the dream is that, you know, eventually they would all be on the same playing field, and then you could use the cheapest components, thus reducing the prices of these monitors. Because at the end of the day, yes, you got the 4K 144 Hz monitors, and if you look at some of the high-end monitors, they could go up to as high as 50,000 Rand, which doesn't make sense at all. Why purchase a monitor that's going to be more expensive than your entire build? It just doesn't make sense. But as technology is progressing, we are hoping, or it looks promising, that you're going to get a lot cheaper panels down the line with a lot better performance.
Okay. Do it. Do it.
All right.
Okay, so the next big thing was AMD. AMD has been stealing the limelight at every show, and they did it once again. So the first product that they launched was their new notebook series of CPUs, which is the 4000 series, which is based off the Zen 2 architecture, obviously 7nm processors. So what's interesting about this is that Ryzen has had a bad run in terms of the mobile market. The mobile market is still predominantly, it's dominated, let's just use that word, by Intel and Nvidia. And if you've been on the market, especially if you're a gamer and you want to get a laptop that's going to allow you to game, and also if you're into some productivity like we are, not on the high end, those laptops are ridiculously priced. Let's just be honest. They're getting more and more expensive. And you know what? I have friends like one of my friends, his name is Mullahs. He has a beast of a system. RTX 2080 Ti. Yeah, everything that you possibly could want in a PC, he's got it. And we will showcase his PC in a future episode. But he himself as well doesn't see, or he can't justify paying that much for a gaming laptop. I mean, they're ranging anything on the bottom end of around 20,000 Rand, and then the sky's the limit on the high end. And if you look at some of, like, obviously the Creator P laptops and stuff that are coming out, they're just priced too high. So obviously AMD now launching a CPU which has pretty impressive stats, and they're also saying that they're going to be bringing out a 5700 and 5600M mobile process GPUs, because at the moment they're based obviously off Vega graphics, and that's quite promising. Obviously with the 5700 they're promising the same results like the 5700 GPUs on the desktop, so though that would be ideal obviously for 2K gaming. But with regards to what the actual performance is, obviously once these laptops and processors and GPUs get into the hands of reviewers, I wish we would get review samples in South Africa, but apparently that's not possible. But anyway, that's another topic for discussion. But anyway, yeah, so it'll be interesting to see what type of performance results they actually get. And you know, the thing is, Intel has dominated the market together with Nvidia in terms of laptops, and if AMD can come in obviously with those good performance results or performance results to compete with that, and if they can come in at a much better price point, it will drive the prices down of laptops, which then would benefit most of the individuals out there. Because let's just be honest, right? Big business, etc., they got budgets every year. People that buy laptops, usually they budget every year that I need a laptop for work. It's not a laptop that, like for gamers. A laptop would be something that they need to game when they're away from home. And obviously the price point that they're coming in at, it doesn't make sense. Okay, so the next big thing announcement from AMD was obviously an announcement of a new GPU, which is the 5600 and 5600 XT. So last year at Computex they announced obviously the 5700 XT, which was the ultimate 1440p gaming GPU. Now they announced the ultimate 1080p gaming GPU. On paper, once again, it looks very impressive. They're saying it's a direct competitor to the 1660 Ti from Nvidia, and it actually decimates it. And you know, the thing is, we obviously don't know what the results of that are as well. Obviously, we only know once it gets in the hands of reviewers and reviews come out on the internet. But I think it's ruffled the feathers of Nvidia, because just shortly after that, Nvidia dropped the price of their RTX 2060, which actually isn't a competitor to this GPU, but they made it just $20 more than the new 5600 XT. Whether it's a play just to dominate that market, because you remember this area of the market, or this end of the market, is an area that AMD is also very familiar with. Especially they dominated it for years with the RX 580. So it seems like Nvidia has made a play, and you can think of it in two ways actually. The first two thoughts that came to my mind when I read about that was, Nvidia, they overpriced these cars initially, and I feel sorry for the RTX guys that bought RTX 2060s recently, because it's dropped quite significantly, and so it's a clear indication that Nvidia did price these cards at an extremely high price point, which I could never justify myself to spend that much for RTX 2080 Ti. I just feel it's too high price. The second thing is, but they're making a bold move like that to bring a higher performance card down to that price level. Also says, you know, they're trying to get that market share, and it's ruffled their feathers. It's got them a bit scared. They made obviously now Threadripper for the desktop, and what's very interesting about it is that they actually featured a red camera in their press conference, where, because you know, if you ever worked with red raw footage, right, or 4K red raw footage, damn, that thing puts a strain on the system. You know, it's so hard to play back that footage because of the size of the file sizes, etc., etc. And obviously this CPU was sent to red, and in that presentation they said that it plays back 8K footage flawlessly. So obviously the Threadripper, this new Threadripper, is not going to be for everybody, but if you run a production company, or if you do a lot of 3D modeling, and you work with a lot of 8K red footage, raw red footage all the time, this is going to be the CPU for you. And really at that price point, because let's be honest, right, the guys that buy red cameras, or now the newly launched Canon 1DX Mark III, yeah, that price point of that CPU would be within their budget, and it's going to give them the best performance out of the box. So one of the biggest things of CES actually didn't happen at CES. So that's one of the things that actually got us very excited. And that's an interview that happened with Anand Tech with Lisa Su, which is the CEO of AMD. And they put her on the spot and asked her, is there a big Navi coming? So there's been a lot of speculation, a lot of rumors of a high-end GPU that's coming out soon. Just before I get to that, consoles were quite disappointing this time around. PlayStation did just reveal a PS5 logo. As we know, the roadmap for that is launched around March this year. So they didn't reveal too much, but so we'll just have to keep an eye out for that. But anyway, they put her on the spot and they asked Lisa Su about a high-end GPU. And she couldn't say much, but she said that basically something is on the way. Just after the expo, there was a VR benchmark score that came out, which showed an AMD GPU paired with it looked like a mobile CPU, but it scored 70% higher than the highest RTX 2080 Ti score. And that really got the internet abuzz and the internet talking. So there is something in the works. Like I say, if they're following the trend, the next GPU should be the ultimate 4K gaming GPU. But anyway, I hope you guys have a blessed week further, and I hope you guys are having a great start to 2020, and we'll see you in the next one. Cheers, bye.